our Love in Action series. During the 7 weeks, we're talking about building a consciousness of abundance, a greater understanding of our connection with God, the source of all that is, the source of all good. We're learning that abundance is not something to pray for or want, because it's right here and right now. This series is all about awakening to the reality that we are surrounded by a vast sea of substance. As we become more conscious of this truth and learn how to tap into this sea, a whole new world of possibilities opens up to us. We began last week by creating a shared understanding of what abundance really is. Our working definition: abundance is the power to satisfy our needs and make our dreams come true. We also saw how essential it is to take responsibility for the lives we're creating. Although God is the source of all good, abundance can only come into manifestation through our consciousness of it. Until we have the consciousness of abundance, we are powerless to create the experience of abundance. We talked about commitment last week too. That abundance begins with a commitment to be a giver to life. The law of circulation says that as we release the gifts of our time, talent, and treasure into the world, we step into the flow of the universe and open the door to an infinite supply of everything we could possibly want: peace, love, joy, health, wealth, and wholeness. I challenged every one of us last week to make a greater commitment to living as a giver than we ever have made before. I asked that we all think about how to use our time, talent, and treasure in new and expanded ways for this next 7 weeks, so that we could experience firsthand what it feels like to consciously live as a giver to life. Some of us agreed to state our commitment publicly as a way to add energy to it and perhaps be an inspiration for others. You'll know us by our Love in Action tags. Those who were not here last week or who did not sign up for a love tag, you can put your name on the list there on the table in the foyer, and you too can receive one of these beautiful, elegant.
Special.
The message from last week is also on the website, so if you were not here and you need to hear that part 1, you can go there and listen to that and all the rest of the series as well. So we'll have an archive of the series. So the heart of the commitment we're making, whether we make it in public or in private, is to become more intentional givers by taking the time to think through what we will give and where we will give it, and then following through on these commitments. By doing this, we're going to prove the law of circulation and experience the promise of Scripture that says, "Give and it will be given to you, pressed down and flowing over." So just so you know, I'm in this with you. Here's a little bit about my commitments for this week. This is the start. And I also want you to notice that they're simple things, all right? So in giving of my time, I'm committed to get up an hour earlier in the morning so that I have an extra hour for meditation. This requires me to go to bed earlier, which is a stretch for me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to participate fully in the Lenten prayer program that we're about to start. Peggy and I are about to start. And so I'm going to dedicate, in other words, the time that we're talking about is more time dedicated to our own spiritual growth. So that's what I've decided to start out with. I'm going to give more of my talent, and Susie, you'll be happy to hear this. I'm going to not only use my speaking skills in other venues, but my writing skills to create new media posts and vlogs, which I have been having a little pressure on me over. I'm also going to be a contributor to the prayer program. So I'm offering my gifts and talents in gratitude for them, and through the power of God working through me, knowing that this power through me makes a difference in the world. And as for treasure, I'm increasing my giving to this church by $100 in appreciation for the spiritual nourishment I receive here and the support I get from all of you. These decisions are a stretch for me, but they are not hardships. They are becoming more of who I am. This is the balance we're seeking with our tithing and our giving. A stretch, but not a hardship. This week, I want to offer the next step in our journey toward a more abundant life. The theme of today's message is creating and holding a vision of higher possibility for our lives. A vision of what living a truly abundant life would look like. Because the truth is that none of us will ever rise higher than our vision. Let me repeat this. None of us will ever rise higher than our vision. So on the journey toward greater abundance, it's essential to expand our concept of what we want, and perhaps even more importantly, of who and what we are. Evolution is a part of the divine plan. Since the beginning of time, Spirit has been unfolding into greater and greater expression. Everything in the universe is constantly engaged in the process of evolution. Humanity, being an integral part of Spirit's creation, also lives under the universal imperative to grow and expand. At a personal level, we sense this as a sort of inner urge to live more fully and get more satisfaction out of life. We crave new horizons, higher ideals, and greater challenges because they make us feel more alive, and it's so much a part of who we are as human beings. Something inside us humans is always urging us into greater expression. When we find the courage, and I don't use that word lightly, to take up the challenge of that urge and do something we have dreamed of doing but have not, we experience a new surge of energy, excitement, and joy. Many of us experience the evolutionary urge as a subtle restlessness. I know that's one of my MOs. Lots of times, we think of this restlessness as a craving to have more. And so we go out and we strive to acquire more things or to feel more. And so we go looking for greater physical, mental, or emotional excitement. How's that worked out for you? I've had mixed results myself. But these things never satisfy us for long, because what we really crave is the experience of that new stuff and that excitement. What we really crave is a sense of newness and aliveness and adventure and expansion. But what if this inner restlessness is not really an urge to have more, feel more, or even to fix all the stuff we think is wrong with us? What it is really is the nudge of Spirit to express more of who we really, really are. Because in our heart of hearts, we know that we are much more than we have thought we were. Now, there's something very important to understand about all this. Spirit is always calling us forward and upward, but our response to Spirit's call is entirely up to us. All of creation has this divine discontent, but we humans do not have to respond to it. We can ignore it, we can turn away from it, but the more we do this, the less we experience that newness and aliveness and adventure and expansion that our souls are craving. Yeah, it's true. We're free to refuse the call of evolution within us, just as we're free to refuse the call of this Love and Action program. Or we could abandon ourselves to it. We could simply say yes and open ourselves up to a whole new level of living. You and I have a great deal to say about how expression is going to look and feel in our lives every day. What direction will this evolutionary urge take me? We are designed to be creators. We are going to create something in our lives. There is no doubt about it. The question is, will we create more abundance or more lack? More connection or more separation? I remember that old movie, Oh God, this is really old, so, you have to be in the age to remember it. George Burns, to give you some idea, plays God, and John Denver, I think they both left the planet, plays a guy who is pretty much fed up with life. In one scene, John Denver's character asks God a question we've all been tempted to ask at one time or another. Hey God, why did you create a world that's this messed up? And why is my life so messed up too? And God says to him, hey man, don't blame me. I didn't do it. I created the blueprint. The details have always been up to you. God has given us the motivation and the means. The motivation is that inner urge to move forward. The means is our creative nature and ability, but the details are up to us. We are responsible for what our lives look like. This is why our vision is so important. It's how we map out those details. Our vision is about the highest possibility for our personal roadmap. Through it, we say to the universe, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. This is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want to experience in life. Now, you might think that you don't have a vision if you've never intentionally created one, but you do. We all do. You just might not be conscious of it yet. But see, that's a problem. Throughout the early years of our lives, we learned what life is supposed to be all about from the people around us, didn't we? We learned from the way they responded to us and the way they talked to us and what they taught us. And we formed this concept, a deep-rooted, unconscious concept of who we are, how life works, and what is possible. There are feelings and beliefs behind these concepts, hundreds of them, most held in our subconscious mind. Now the thing is, we don't have to go digging around in our subconscious to discover what these thoughts and concepts and images and beliefs are. All we have to do is look at the life we're creating. Because our lives are nothing more than the outpicturing of our vision, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Our lives are our mirrors. And this is actually very good news, because if we don't like what's being played out, we can change the vision. Even if we're currently operating from an unconscious and very limited vision, we can construct a conscious vision that is greater and more powerful. See, the kingdom of God, that field of infinite possibility we talk about a lot in unity, has already been given to us. However, we alone must choose which and how these magnificent possibilities will outpicture for us, which will become probabilities. And after that, which will become actualities. Stands to reason, if our vision is broad and expansive, our life will reflect that. If it's limited and narrow, our life will reflect that. So today I'm asking you, are you holding out a thimble to life? Or a cup? Maybe a bucket? Or a great big tub? The amount of abundance we experience is all about our idea of what is possible. You know, we don't have to live unconsciously. We don't have to believe what our parents believed. We don't have to believe what we've always believed. We don't have to accept what we were taught by our teachers. we can set those old beliefs aside if we choose to and build a conscious vision that is much greater. This is a very practical, moment-to-moment process. Suppose you've been presented with a new opportunity of some kind, like a new job or a new relationship. Right there, you're standing at a crossroad. You can let the disappointments that you've experienced in the past be your decision maker and step back. Or you can center in God, the power within you, open to new possibilities, and step out on a new adventure. Because really, what life is this vast series of opportunities for new adventures. Some large, some seem small. But every time we decide to center in God and make a present moment decision, rather than react out of automatic pilot, all of our automatic pilots look a little different, we are opening ourselves to greater abundance. Okay, I know this all sounds so simple and straightforward to talk about, but we all know that there are obstacles to overcome. Creating a new vision for our lives is a profound challenge because our dreams are always just on the other side of our fears and doubts. To claim our dream, we're going to have to face those doubts and fears and choose to move past them. We all have a comfort zone, and most of the time we operate within that comfort zone, in that place that's easy to achieve. But you know what they say in the 12-step programs? Few of you could tell me. If we always do what we've always done, we're going to do what? We're going to get what we have always gotten. That's common sense. Truth is, our personal greatness is way out there, beyond that comfort zone, beyond self-doubt and self-criticism and lack thinking and false beliefs. These things are like a wall encircling us, keeping us trapped inside it. If we want to have more room for abundance, we're going to have to push that wall outward. And the thing is, to push it outward, we're going to have to touch it. Which means we're going to have to face up to those demons inside. This takes courage and commitment. That's why we do it in this group, so we can help one another. That's why we wear the tag. The good news is that there is really nothing we have to face that's not us. Sorry about that. It's not him or her or this or that. The demons we face are all us. Nothing outside us can keep us from our good. They do not have the power. We have the power. The doubts we'll have to face, the challenges we'll have to face, they're rooted in us, which means that we can change them. Here's something encouraging to remember. A greater idea always heals a lesser one. Let me repeat that. A greater idea always heals a lesser one. The new and expanded vision we consciously create can, over time, heal the lesser ideas that we thought were true up until today. As we learn to trust and believe in the new vision, it will gradually and naturally begin to replace the false beliefs and fears that have stood in our way. So no matter how many times you have fallen into your old thinking, we don't give up. We just keep refocusing into that higher possibility. Everything else will take care of itself if we are willing to do this. Do you see? We want to skip past that, and we want to start trying to arrange circumstances to be different. When the truth of the matter is that as soon as we are willing to face up to those doubts and fears, step past it, and focus on a higher vision, those obstacles gradually melt away. This morning we're going to begin the process of visioning for a greater possibility. If you're unfamiliar with a process like this, you may feel a little lost as we go through it. You may have some vague feelings and half-realized ideas, and you might find it hard to put your finger on what you really, really want at this moment, and be tempted to sort of latch on to something general or obvious. But during the process this morning, I suggest that you try to stay with the vague yearning inside. Don't be in a big hurry to settle on something easy or obvious. For instance, envisioning for abundance and health, you might be tempted to say, I am in perfect health. Nothing is wrong. My body is functioning perfectly. Even though you may be 85 years old and suffering from some chronic ailment. A better way is to sit with the current reality until the image of what abundance and health would mean for you right now, right where you are, begins to rise up. Your vision will unfold if you're willing to return to this process on a regular basis. I would like to tell you that we're going to walk through this morning, and you're going to leave here a changed person, and everything in your life is going to turn around.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I know that's why you come here, but that's not how it works. All right. So, there are going to be a few of us who are going to decide to really commit to this program and use the tools it offers. And those of us who do that, I absolutely guarantee, will see the results they desire, because it's just the law. So you can re-listen. I'm going to do a kind of a long meditation this morning, so be prepared. It's going to be different than usual. And I'm doing it especially so that it can be recorded and show up on the website, so you can go to it and you can re-listen to it. The transcript will be there as well, if that suits you better. But you can go back there and reuse this if you wish. Some people do better just sitting in the silence. It's totally up to you. Just allowing our hearts to reveal its greatest longing. So no matter how vague your vision is at the beginning, you'll find that by staying with the process, you will eventually land on an image that brings up feelings of excitement and anticipation and lifts your spirits. When you get that feeling through you, stay with that and follow that thread. That is like a signpost saying, go here, follow this. And if we'll do that, we'll get clearer and clearer as time goes on about our vision. So if we're persistent, our images and visions and feelings will take us where we want to go. And as we move in that direction, those old things that held us back, they just gradually get quiet. We're really trying to tell our ego, this is my decision now. You might as well let go of the old one, because it's no longer in charge. So that's the work we're up to. So we'll begin with Cindy, and she's going to lead us through a little song, our lovely little meditation song, and then we'll do the visioning meditation. So I'd invite you to relax now. Relax your body. And feel the seat beneath you and your feet on the floor, grounded and safe. I invite you to set the intention of letting go. Letting go of your constant thinking. And just allow yourself to be fully present to this moment. There's no work to do here, but only to allow the vision to appear in your mind. It is already in your heart. You were created with it. And now we allow it to rise up from the center of our being. If old, preconceived notions arise, we let those go too. By asking Spirit to show us its vision for our lives going forward. And we just listen and watch for the images that arise with an open and receptive heart. We were created to be unique expressions of the infinite. And there are possibilities and probabilities that only you or I can express. Your highest vision is different from everyone else's. And so we begin once again by releasing the past. There is only this moment. And we allow our minds to be a blank slate on which Spirit can write. If limiting thoughts, doubts, or fears arise, we simply watch them pass by. They will pass if we allow them to. Imagine now that every limitation in life has been completely removed. Imagine yourself living abundance fully and completely in every area of your life. Every dream, every goal, every need is met. Can you imagine what this would feel like? We take a nice deep breath. Just a moment we sit with this feeling of complete satisfaction, where nothing is lacking. Notice this sense of spaciousness that opens up. It's possible to wake up every morning with this sense of space and openness and possibility and freedom. Imagine every day feeling freedom and space and openness and possibility. From this state of positive expectancy, what is your vision for yourself in the area of health? That is, your physical, emotional, mental well-being. What does true abundance look like for you personally? What would abundance in your health feel like? What images arise? Say yes to these images. They are your dream of abundance in health. with this vision of true abundance and health, what God qualities do you see yourself expressing? Perhaps balance. Perhaps peace. Perhaps ease and grace. What God qualities come with the expression of health for you? This is good. Give thanks. And what is your vision for yourself in the area of financial prosperity? The flow of money and material goods of all their forms through your life. What would true abundance look like here? What would it feel like to have abundance and prosperity in your finances? How would you express this financial abundance? How would you act? What would you create? Allow the images to arise until your heart sings with the pure joy of them. And what God qualities are desiring expression in the area of financial abundance? Freedom, generosity, a greater life, allow yourself to imagine the God qualities that would accompany financial and material abundance in your life, and make each of them a part of your vision. This is good. Give thanks. Now we move to the relationship area of life. How you show up in every interaction with every other spiritual being. Your friends, your mate, your children, your parents, your coworkers. What would a richly abundant life of warm relationships, nourishing and creative relationships look like for you? What would it feel like to have a life filled with love, acceptance, and connection? Catch the vision. would you be expressing in your relationship? Unconditional love, acceptance, authenticity, honesty, effortlessness and ease. This is good. Give thanks. And what about the area of career and self-expression? Whatever you do to express your gifts and talent. What are your unique gifts? Your heart knows. Let the full awareness of them arise. See them and embrace them and say, yes, this is me. These talents are mine. They are my unique way to contribute to the world. What would it be like to express your gifts and talents openly, freely and completely, with the abandon and confidence of a child? How would this feel? Holding nothing back. No self-consciousness. Just being who you came here to be. And what God qualities would you be expressing if you were completely out there with your gifts and talent? Creativity, certainly. Joy, freedom, power. What else? Catch the vision. This is good. Give thanks. And finally, what would abundance in spiritual awareness and personal growth look like for you? What is the possibility that's calling to you? Where is your soul longing to grow? What would a sense of true oneness with God feel like? Know that through the power of your vision you can go farther than you ever thought possible. Allow the images to arise. show up if you knew absolutely that you are God in expression? Can you see yourself? The God qualities that you would be expressing. Personal power, kindness, compassion, gentleness, confidence. Catch the vision. This is good. Give thanks. The seeds of perfection are planted within each of us. How we live and express them is up to us. It is possible to live life full out, alive, prosperous and creative, our hearts open and filled with gratitude, our minds open and receptive to guidance and new ideas. See the image of you getting out of your own way and allowing God to be God in you. As we return our attention to this time and space now, we say to Spirit, live through me. Use me, transform me. Let me see the person I came here to be. Becoming fully present to our surroundings now, we continue this journey, following our hearts filled with gratitude and joy and hope. We vow to continue with our visioning practice because we know it's going to take time to replace those old images and that old programming with a new vision for our life. But we do not give up when old fears and doubts arise. Like our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore, we simply continue with the practice, opening to God's greatest vision for our lives, day by day. And so we end our practice this morning, as we will every day, by saying 3 times, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is.